Turning now to the Middle East, where Human Rights Watch has released a new report on the occupied West Bank. The group says more than 32,000 Palestinians have been displaced from 3 refugee camps by Israeli forces since January. The displacement is part of Israel's military operation called Iron Wall. The report describes soldiers storming homes, ransacking property, and ordering families out with loudspeakers and drones. The rights group accuses Israel of war crimes and crimes against humanity. Israel claims the camps are terrorist strongholds. Palestinians in the occupied West Bank are also facing a surge in violent attacks by Jewish settlers, and they are holding out little hope that Israeli authorities will crack down on the violence. The CBC's Tom Perry joins me now from Jerusalem. So, Tom, what can you tell us about these recent attacks?
Well, we have seen a surge in attacks against businesses, against homes, against vehicles, and certainly against Palestinian people. But even the Israeli military says that its troops have come under attack from these settlers when they've tried to break up some of these attacks. Now, we did hear today from the U.S. ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee. He weighed in on this with some pretty strong language. He called it terrorism. That said, he says that this is really a small number of youth, mostly youth, he says, disaffected, angry. He calls them thugs trying to stir up trouble. Nonetheless, as I said, some strong language from the U.S. ambassador. Now, this is not the first time that he's spoken out against this. Back in July, he visited the town of Taibe, which is a Christian town in the West Bank. He went there after a church was attacked by extremist settlers. He denounced the violence then. He's doing it again now. And I should point out that this comes as Israel's Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, is also denouncing the violence. He, too, says that this is a small group of extremists, but he says that Israeli authorities need to pursue these people to the full extent of the law. But human rights groups and the United Nations say that's not normally the case, that the pattern they've seen whenever these attacks happen is that those Israeli authorities either turn a blind eye or actively support the attackers.
Now, Tom, you recently traveled to the West Bank. Tell us more about what you saw while you were there.
That's right. We went there just yesterday. We went to Bet Lid. That's in the central part of the West Bank. We went to a dairy that was attacked last week by a mass of settlers, just dozens of settlers. We saw the charred remains of delivery vans that were burned by that mob there. We went as well to the town of Sinjil. It's held behind, or it's sort of fenced in by this high metal barrier that the Israeli officials say were put there to protect a nearby highway. But people there say that it's cut them off from their own land, and it hasn't protected them from harassment or from attacks by extremist settlers. Now, we spoke to a campaigner from B'Tselem, that's a human rights group here in Israel, and we asked him about this idea of settlers being above the law, and here's what he had to say.
Settlers do get total impunity, they get more violent, they do everything out in the open, they're boasting about their actions, and in turn, Israel gets total impunity for what it's been doing in the occupied West Bank from the international community.
And we did hear a lot of that from the Palestinians who we spoke to in the West Bank. You know, Benjamin Netanyahu can talk about cracking down on settler violence, but the people we spoke to said they'll believe that when they see it.
Tom, thank you for this. That is the CBC's Tom Perry reporting from Jerusalem.